Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back. This is Daily Trade Analysis with a quick market update for today, Monday, January 14th. We are starting another week and we are continuing seeing a lot of bearish price action. Today, we got on the positive side the business optimism index that came higher than expected, which is positive, indicating a strong business outlook, signaling potential economic growth. But the rest of the information, the most important data today, the PPI, came in higher than expected. So higher than the previous one, meaning that even though the expectations were not met, we have here two sets of data which we have to really analyze in detail. The first one is in terms of general inflation, the PPI year over year came in lower than the 3.3%, but still in red. Why? Because it still indicates persistent overall inflationary pressure because the 3% was the previous one and we are moving higher. It's clear that the forecast was expecting higher than the previous one, but higher than the actual one. But that doesn't mean that even though we came in lower than the forecasted, we are still higher than the previous one, and by 10%, from 3 to 3.3%, which is negative sentiment. In terms of core PPI, we are still in the 0%, so this is good. Despite the fact that this is red, this should be, I think it should be orange, but still a negative value would be better. But 0 is flat. We came from 0.2 to 0, which is 0.2 less than the previous one, and the forecast was also higher. So this is, in my opinion, positive because this relaxes a little bit the core PPI part of the PPI. But still, this is what is driving the sentiment. The PPI year over year, and I think this is mostly a 35. It's 45 would be even better if we came maybe in line 3.5. That would be better. But I think with the optimism index being good, with the core PPI being flat, maybe we can see later in the day some kind of buying, but right now it's still not clear. It's still a bad sentiment overall, and in the negative influence, we have that the 10-year Treasury Yield, it's potentially crossing the 5%. According to a poll of bond strategies. So this is not only about PPI, this is also about the bonds market, and tomorrow we have the CPI. So this is maybe the calm before the storm. Today was maybe a good hint of tomorrow's data, and this hint was not really good. So I think the bearish price action today, it's deserved, but we have still to analyze what is happening and the kind of levels that we are reaching. This is the daily adjusted to the weekly's levels. This is the weekly high. This was the weekly low. And we are right now battling with the weekly low there. If we go to the 1 hour, we can see something really interesting. This is the open fair value gap inverse bearish that we got and was respected today, where consequent encroachment of that daily inverse fair value gap, it's basically right here. Right here. We rejected this zone of the daily inverse fair value gap and we moved lower. We are right now at last week low, and we have really interesting sell side liquidity down here. Let me go back to we have this pivot, and then we have the levels that I mentioned on my weekly recap below 20,500. So in terms of today, there was a pivot in here at 21,000. Right here, the PPI came out, and I think this was a big accumulation for the move lower. We are respecting the daily inverse fair value gap, we are trying to push a little bit, perhaps to this pivot and to take this buy side liquidity. But overall, I wouldn't take longs today either. I would wait for tomorrow to see the CPI and see what happens. Nvidia, it's minus 1.63. Meta is minus 3% with their own news. The good thing is that the banks are pretty good. Actually, the ES it's holding better than the Nasdaq, despite the clear bearish price action. The Russell is in the positive, and XLF it's in the positive. Utilities are in the positive. The only thing which is really dampening the sentiment is technology, because we have not we still don't have a clear picture of what is going to happen tomorrow. Tomorrow is big important, is super important. Today's PPI was, I think, it 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 had a little bit of bad taste at the end. The initial reaction was good, but then I think the overall sentiment is it's of caution, of waiting for tomorrow. So if you are waiting for better opportunities, I would certainly advise to wait for 20,700s around this liquidity down here that I show you. Let me show you again on the 15-minute. So this liquidity here, we got this and the daily one. There's still a lot of potential downside, but I think tomorrow would be a good day to just wait for that sharp, and then if the numbers are good, manipulation move into the short squeeze. But for today, it's clearly bearish. I don't think this is going to, at least this is not going back to this PPI high. I don't think so. We lost 21,000, a key level that I was watching today. As I was mentioning on my weekly recap on Saturday, today was a watching day. I was watching 21,000 and that didn't hold. So I'm just in playing the sidelines, waiting for tomorrow with patience. And when we have all the data, PPI, CPI, and all the news came out, maybe I will take certain positions, higher time frames, seeing what levels hold and what level. But for now, pretty bearish and a rejection and a surprise on the sentiments. That's all from my side. As always, thank you for your time. If you found this video useful, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel, because I upload videos like this one every single day for market forecasts, market updates, and market recaps. I appreciate your time as always. Remember that the trading day is not over yet. Discipline, patience, and risk management are key for your success. Stay safe, everyone, and see you tomorrow.